Hello and welcome to your training program. Now this video is going to be on every single program that you ever have, but it's very important to make sure that you watch this video first of all before attempting to complete any type of training that you do or that you have been given. So first things first, there is a video in the coaching section of your app under videos which will tell you how to track your program. It's really important from your point of view to get to your goals, but also from my point of view as well, so I can see that what we're doing is working as best as possible for you. So number one, make sure you go to the coaching section of the app, look in videos, and you're looking for the video that tells you how to track your reps, your sets, and overall your program and all of your notes. It's really important. Now, once you're in that video and you're coming back to training, please make sure that you are recording every single set that you do and you're telling me how many reps you've done in that set. If you need to, you can leave me any notes below the exercise, but make sure you're really focusing on the sets and reps and recording of your exercises and any notes. Secondly, one thing to really focus on is tempo throughout this movement. So you might find that sometimes your exercise hasn't changed, but have you looked at the tempo? Tempo is extremely important when it comes to exercise execution. Execution of an exercise just means how you do an exercise and how you, if it's fast, if it's slow, what you're kind of doing around the exercise to get the most out of it, okay? So let's say, for example, we're going to do a shoulder press. If we're doing a shoulder press and you're following the tempo of 3, 1, 2, 1, that means you're going to go up for 1, 2, 3. We're going to pause for a second at the top for 1. We're going to come back for 1, 2, and we're going to pause for a second at the bottom, okay? So it's 3, 1, 2, 1, okay? I hope that makes sense. So it's very important to making sure you're focusing on your tempo throughout each and every movement as well. A lot of the time, if you've been a regular gym goer in the past, or if you've seen people on YouTube or Facebook, whatever you see, 9 out of 10 times you will see people moving a weight from A to B purely on momentum, okay? A very common one for this is the bicep curl. People tend to swing up the biceps, but the bicep curl with the dumbbell, and they're using maybe 30 kilos of weight. But actually, in reality, they're only actually moving about 5 kilos of that because the momentum of the exercise is doing all the work. So this is where focusing on your tempo, coming up for a slower time and down for a slower time, depending on what your tempo is for that exercise, is going to be more beneficial than just swinging around a weight wherever you are in the gym or at home. The next thing that we need to focus on is ensuring that your rest periods are timed. So for those of you that are looking at doing muscle building, getting a bit more toned, you're probably going to be in the rest period of around 60 to 90 seconds per exercise, okay? So when you complete an exercise, typically you'll have around 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 sets of each exercise. Make sure you're having your allocated rest period. It will say how much rest you need to take on your program. So if that is 60 seconds, make sure you're timing 60 seconds on your watch or on a clock, whatever it is, so that we can make sure your muscles are recovering in your rest periods. I know how eager you probably are to get through the set because you're excited and you're feeling great. But if we don't allow our muscles to recover properly for the time that's been given to us, we're going to actually interfere with the growth of that muscle, okay? So it's really important to focus on time as well as tempo and rest too, okay? Now, finally, before we go any further, I know how exciting it is to be starting a new program. Whether this is a new program or a program you've done before, I know how exciting it is getting into that session and just really enjoying it, having that hour to yourself. But it's so important to ensure that we're warming up and we're also cooling down. The amount of clients that I've dealt with that don't bother stretching after or before their sessions have such injuries later on in their training because they haven't looked after their body. They haven't given their body the recovery that it needs. So please make sure that when you are training, you are completing your warm-up and you are completing your cool down. Because if you don't, in the future, this could lead to a lot of issues, and one being an injury. And that is not what we want to do, okay? So that's kind of the rundown on how to train, how to do your program, all right? If you have any questions, please don't ever hesitate to contact me, and I hope you have a great session completing your program.